Lindsey Graham is now calling for McCabe to be investigated, and rightly so. If you're going to speak up to sell books, then you might as well be placed under oath so you can go on record. Last week, after we got previews of the 60 Minutes interview, Massachusetts Democratic Senator and presidential wannabe Elizabeth Warren defended McCabe and his actions. Liz?
The people who work with him every day said they have raised questions about whether it's appropriate to invoke the 25th Amendment. They have an independent constitutional responsibility. If they believe the president has a problem that triggers the 25th Amendment, then their loyalty is to the Constitution of the United States.
Liz,
it's that simple.
Liz, slow down. What if you become president and your cabinet finds that because you're a proven pathological liar, maybe you can no longer serve? Be careful what you wish for. What should lawmakers do? Support McCabe or the president, who apparently was almost toppled? Joining me now, former press secretary to Vice President Pence and special assistant to President Trump, Marc Lotter, is back. What strikes you most about the waves this is making in Congress?
It's just stunning. And I think Lindsey Graham used that term yesterday, that you have the...
He said it's beyond stunning.
Beyond stunning. I'll go with that then.
Yeah.
That you had the top officials of the FBI and the DOJ openly discussing ways to remove an elected president of the United States because they didn't like him.
Yes.
And that's something we should all think about. That's not what the Constitution intended.
No, certainly not. And the Constitution didn't want to concentrate even more power in the hands of very few, mostly men.
Unelected.
And Rod Rosenstein. And, you know, when people talk about a deep state, they're talking about people who are serving for years, who are unelected, who are doing whatever they can to hold on to their power. And here comes in a president who's very unorthodox, looking at things in a very different way. And that can be troubling if he's talking about dismantling certain institutions where, you know, you look at the DOJ and the FBI, they certainly deserve maybe not dismantling, but a good spring cleaning.
No, absolutely. And think about this as it might relate closer to home. Imagine if the police chief thought about the mayor and did this, or the prosecutor, the sheriff. We don't do that. That's not the way we transition power in the United States.
Was this the insurance policy that Strzok and Page were texting about?
I think that and combined with the dossier, I think they thought that was going to be, and I'm just speculating, I think that was probably what they thought would be the insurance policy. Of course, you're missing one key point. That you need a device. It's the vice president and a majority of the cabinet. And
well,
I can guarantee you that Vice President Mike Pence would have never signed on to anything
There's no
like
way
that.
he would. And, you know, I may disagree with a lot of the vice president's beliefs and political positions, but, you know, talking to people who know him best, he's not that kind of person. Number one, he has so much respect for the office of the vice presidency and for the presidency that if the president's great undoing does not benefit him. I want to know if Rod Rosenstein is saying, yeah, I got at least 3 cabinet members. I want to know who they are.
It'd be very interesting to find out who they are, if he even had those. Or, again, I mean, this is the guy selling books. And as has been mentioned before, I mean, he was fired for lying. He's actually trying to walk back his statements today by saying, well, it wasn't meetings I was
really
in.
Say that. Yeah,
I just
exactly.
heard about. No, that's
I
not
didn't
what you
really
told.
have discussions about the 25th Amendment. This is the basis of your conversation with Scott Pelley. That's what you're saying. That's how you're trying to sell these books.
This story keeps changing every single moment as they keep digging and digging. And isn't the first rule is when you're in trouble, stop digging. And you just keep digging more and more and more. He's going to find himself, I mean, he's likely to find himself facing criminal charges anyway for lying to the FBI. I don't know why we have any credibility.
It's interesting. So you look at the chasm within the DOJ and the FBI, because Loretta Lynch and James Comey totally turned on each other. And there's probably a lot more vitriol left in their quivers. And now you have McCabe and Rosenstein doing the exact same thing. It's the exact same dynamic. And all I have to say on behalf of Americans is lock it up over at the Justice Department, okay? You guys have a job to do. And it's much more than protecting your own feudal power. Marc Lotter, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Always great to talk to you.